spike. For more on this story, we can bring in our international affairs commentator, Douglas Herbert. Doug, good afternoon. It seems like Vladimir Putin doesn't want this grain out of the silos or to be put on ships and sent to places that need it most, while Ukraine wants to get these exports up and running.
Yeah. What's going on here? Look, if you are a willing and happy consumer of industrial strength Russian propaganda, what do you believe today? Well, you believe the Russia's propaganda line that all it is striking right now, these missile and drone attacks on Ukraine's southern ports, they have nothing to do with the grain deal. They are simply targeting military objectives, military targets, ammunition depots. Don't even look at the grain deal. Nothing to do with that. Look away. That's according to the official propaganda. That is what tens of millions of Russians watching the country's first channel are being told. These are simply more attacks on non-civilian military targets. Needless to say, that is objectively hogwash. That is lies and manipulation and propaganda. What is going on here, or at least what is 99% more going on here than the Russia's propagandistic version, is that Russia is targeting Ukraine's agricultural infrastructure, and it is targeting its grain silos. And why is it doing that, Delano? Don't have to be a rocket scientist, because the grain deal, the food deal that was struck and was widely hailed as being successful for the past year, struck in July 2022, brokered by Turkey and the UN and Russia with Ukraine's cooperation, it basically was not serving Russia's interests. Russia pulled out of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, the rest of the international community, the West, Europe, anyone else who cares about food security in this world and the plight of those in need of food are saying what is obvious, that Russia has used food, has weaponized food. Now, once again, going back to the Russian propaganda, none of these drones and none of these missiles that have hit the ports, that have hit the port city of Odessa, that have been targeted in Mykolaiv, Chornomorsk, where a lot of the grain shipments are, none of them have anything to do with the food deal. So what Putin is basically doing here is pursuing his special military operation, i.e., let me loosely translate that to you, his barbaric war by other means.
And what can the international community and specifically Europe do?
What they can do right now is, in the immediate short term, they can search for alternatives for getting that grain out. We remember way back in the days before July 2022, before this food grain deal was struck, which has allowed Ukraine, with success over the past year, to ship 33 million tons of grain across Black Sea ports, past Russian blockades, Russian warship blockades, to get them to people in need, mostly in the Middle East, mostly in Africa. Before that, they were looking at ways of getting the grain out by rail and other ports, i.e., via ports in Romania, via ports in the Baltic countries, Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, also sometimes through rail to get them to those ports. Rail, there had been talk of a humanitarian corridor through Belarus, rail corridor, truck corridor. There had also been talk of rail through Poland, even Romania. Right now, Germany has said, its foreign minister said today on the sidelines of a European and EU foreign ministers meeting in Brussels, that Germany and other allies are consulting on alternative ways to try to get grain out, to keep it from rotting in silos because it can no longer be shipped out through the Black Sea. I will just note, it is far from an optimal solution, Delano, and the reason for that is that, at best, only 20%, that's 1/5 of the grain that would otherwise be able to be shipped out via boat, by ship, across the Black Sea, can probably get out through rail and road. It is much more costly. It's much more logistically difficult.
Douglas, we're going to have to leave with that. Thank you very much for that, Douglas Herbert there.